Hello and welcome to Funny Science Fiction, the live edition. Hey, hello and welcome to Funny Science Fiction, the live edition. That's right, the podcast where we argue on how a xenomorph should wear a hat, but we don't give you any of the right answers.
I was going to go with the podcast that sometimes Kathleen has the document up for. Load Chrome.
Why would it load? We don't want it to load.
Okay, there we go.
John says, oh, it looks like somebody's got the case of the Mondays. It's me. I'm somebody. Well, we're going to spread that around.
You're not just somebody, John. You're everybody.
Well, that got thick. All right. Well, Jason Taylor says, what's up, my friends? What's up to you, Mr. Jason Taylor? Welcome. Thank you for coming and observing this. So whatever.
Enjoy it. It's
a lot of hand movements. I feel like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands.
It will either be a spectacular show or a dumpster fire. Who knows?
Well, I'm not, trying to put too much pressure on it, but based on the guests we have, I'm thinking it's going to be a good show.
I agree.
Because I really like them. And, okay, so there's a little pressure on them. We're expecting them to carry a lot, but that's not the point. So
they just have to pick up our slack. So
that's a lot of slack.
But, before we get into introducing tonight's guests, we need to say thanks to our show partners, River City Teas and Level Up Lightsabers. So let's go with River City Teas.
Here we go.
With over 700 designs to choose from, River City Teas has something for everyone. Need some new nerd merch? River City Teas has you covered. Need funny or sarcastic designs? River City Teas has you covered. Are you looking for a new logo or custom design? Whether you need 1 or 100, River City Teas has you covered. With multiple colors and options for each and every design. With things to choose from like shirts, hoodies, phone cases, coffee mugs, and so much more. Be sure to follow River City Teas on Facebook and Instagram. If you do, you'll get the latest on designs and information about upcoming sales. River City Teas. Let's make a shirt together.
Hello.
That was terrifying.
There's a
Oh,
Nick.
look, there's a mustache.
No. Who's this creeper just creeping in on our...
Creeper! Gosh, well, welcome to the show. A way to be on time.
Yeah,
Our chat is now much mustachioed.
It was some last-minute editing for a surprise tonight.
Whoa.
Ta-da!
Surprise!
So...
And stuff.
I have a good excuse.
We'll take it.
Sure you do. All right, well, that was half of our show sponsors. Let's go to our second show sponsor, our dear friends over at Level Up Lightsabers. And as you all know, because you're here all the time and you understand and you just saw it on the screen, those are in the comments. Follow the links. Just do it.
Better than a stick.
It's better than a stick. Ooh, so fun Star Wars-y related thing today.
Okay.
I taught my daughter to use the Force to open automatic doors places.
It's a win.
Oh my gosh, it was so great because we were at the hospital doing medical testy stuff for my mother-in-law. She's fine. And we're going to leave, and I'm like, Anna, use the Force. And she's like, what? I'm like, watch. And the door opened, and she's like, yes.
Nice.
Do it. So then she did it for the and it was fantastic.
All right. I also want to remind you guys that if you can take a moment to subscribe, you'll see the word scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Remember to like and subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, that is a huge help to us. It helps our show to continue to grow. And if you want, if you're in the giving mood, you can also do something that we all enjoy, and that's the act of buying us a coffee. That's also in the show links down below. You help us to be able to afford to continue to create this nonsensical content for you to laugh at, whether you're laughing at the content or you're just laughing at us. Either way, you're laughing, and we're happy about that. So,
And tonight we welcome back Anna and Sam from Growing Up Skywalker.
woo woo!
Hey
Hi.
y'all.
Hi guys.
Hi. Good to be here. Good to see you guys.
Happy Monday.
Mhm.
Yeah, welcome to the insanity. That is a Monday afternoon.
We're so excited to be here.
Good. We're excited to have you guys here. So, hey, before we get into much of it to do about anything tonight, why don't you tell everybody about you guys and where to find you and why you're so stinking awesome?
Oh my God, that is so sweet. Growing Up Skywalker is a weekly Star Wars podcast. We started with a veteran fan who is Sam and me, who refused to watch Star Wars until I was 25 and had a compelling reason, which was hanging out with Sam. And every week we are moving through Growing Up Skywalker, or we're moving through the Lucasfilm universe. We started with the prequel era. So we did episodes 1 and 2, and now we are moving through the Clone Wars, and we're just finishing up season 4. So we are really getting into the meat. And Sam, anything else to add?
No, it's a lot of fun. We come out on Tuesdays, and you can find us on all of your podcast platforms. Growing Up Skywalker.
Yeah, they also have you can find them on Twitter and Instagram. We follow them there, and there's always some really cool content coming from these guys. They are honestly, and I'm not just saying this because they're here, they're honestly one of my favorite podcasts. I wait every week for them to come out. I love the content. And it's not even because it's something that I'm familiar with. And it's like, it's not just because it's like, ooh, Star Wars, but I love your guys' opinions and views on the topic. And that really helps. And you're not as much a noob anymore as you like to pretend that you still are anymore.
Real.
So.
I'm really not. We
No,
we were so fortunate to have Nick on the show for the end of season 3 of the Clone Wars. He helped us to recap the Ahsoka Hunted arc. And
Yeah.
Tim, we're having you on the show relatively soon.
Oh, fun.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I believe we're talking about Maul, aren't we?
Maul
Gotta-
and Asajj.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, don't spoil that one.
No, I'm not gonna go any farther than that. I know you haven't seen it yet, but seeing how Darth Maul is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars lore, I'm very excited about that. And I always, every time I've rewatched the Clone Wars, I always look forward to his episodes with great earnest. I'm like, okay, how close am I to Maul coming back? How close am I to Maul coming back?
You got to get a ways in the Clone Wars before he comes back.
It's a little rough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're a Maul fan, you gotta wait a little bit. But then I also like, that I do the same thing in Rebels. Ooh, how long till I get to see Maul again? So
Now that's a spoiler.
I will say, Anna, that you are probably a bigger Star Wars fan than most Star Wars fans.
Wow. Why do you say that?
Because a lot of Star Wars fans that I have met are like either original trilogy, prequels,
and bust.
or like they don't really. A lot of them haven't actually seen Clone Wars, which is amazing.
They refuse to.
Yeah. Crazy.
Because they think it's a kids show?
Which is fascinating.
I don't know
because
anything
we
about
get
that.
Mass imprisonment and genocide, and it is so far from a kid's show.
On average,
No.
one war
Yeah.
crime per episode.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, see, season 1 was very much a kids show, and then season 2, they're like, let's kick the boots off this thing and let's do this. And then it got very Star Warsy and not so kid friendly. And John Wass has the appropriate quote here: "Nobody hates Star Wars quite like Star Wars fans."
Yeah, that's
And-
true.
It's very accurate. Very accurate.
No hate allowed on Growing Up Skywalker. We are a non-toxic show.
I was just going to say that. That's one of the things I love about you guys is that you guys sometimes have dissenting opinions on topics between the two of you. And I like the fact that it's never, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm smart, you're dumb, nothing like that. That's a nice place to have a discussion, is when you can, voice your opinions without fear of reprisal from somebody else.
Not to mention Baywatch.
Baywatch.
Yeah.
Okay, Baywatch is a segment that we have on every episode of the show because I cannot shut up about my favorite characters. It actually originated when Sam introduced me to the Star Wars universe with The Mandalorian, and I could not stop talking about how great Queel was, the Ugnaught, and we designed an entire segment on the show around it.
That's so
Let's see.
fun.
And all I think of is Darth Maul running down the beach holding the lifeguard thing.
Right? Baywatch, and I'm like,
Saber in one hand, lifeguard buoy in the other hand, just going for it.
Do you think Darth Maul has to put sunscreen on the black parts of his skin or the red parts or both?
Ooh.
On his
I
horns.
don't know, but he puts WD-40 on its legs. At least the new ones, anyway.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Timothy.
I can't help it. It's. I'm a dad. There's dad jokes. It happens.
You're perfect. Change nothing.
There you go. Slow-mo beach mall would be amazing.
Oh goodness!
Yes.
Look what you're encouraging.
I need to find somebody who's good with animation who could make that happen.
I would so buy that T-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, right?
I
Right?
will dress up as Maul and run down the beach for you, Tim.
There you go.
That is a support.
Well, Nick had to leave the show tonight, so
That is more support than I will ever give you.
yeah. No,
If
I'm
there's
good.
running involved, I'm sorry, it's not happening.
No, I'm good with that. We can probably skip that level of support. I do appreciate the sentiment, though. But
Unless there's
yeah,
tacos involved, I might run for tacos.
well, everybody runs for tacos because tacos.
I won't even run if someone's trying to steal my wallet. Just take it.
Yeah.
I've always said that if I'm running, you better run because something worse is behind me. So
Yeah, I do. I have the shirt. The if you're in the presence of a dragon and a halfling, you don't have to outrun the dragon. You just have to outrun the halfling.
Yeah.
I live by that.
that's right.
You just have to be the less slow one.
Exactly.
I just have to be able to trip you. I don't even have to be faster than you. I just have to be able to trip you.
No wonder Maul's your favorite character.
Because he's
Now, I just can't get the movie or show Baywatch, but with like Ahsoka and Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Chewie. Just
okay, but are we putting Darth Maul in like David Hasselhoff's place? Because
sure.
I mean, wherever. There's a lot of eye candy for everyone in the Clone Wars. So
That's
if
true.
you like
That is so true.
if you like sexy catgirl queens, we just did that episode.
Sam's running joke is that I have Shock T posters all over my room, which is not far from the truth. So,
Oh, and then we got Captain Rex.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Giggity,
Dreamboat.
giggity.
hey, the Captain Rex calendar is still one of my that I know.
We have a different Captain Rex every day. He didn't even have to show up.
You're set for the next 3 million years.
There you go.
I know. Yeah.
Hey, before we get into our topic for tonight, I want to share this real quick. So a couple weeks ago, we had Jake the Jedi and Ben the Hardy Healer on. Guys, Star Wars content creators from TikTok, another set of guys that we really like having on the show. And I'm sharing this because I'm really excited. Oh,
That's what you get for using Apple products.
my computer wants me to do all these authentications so that I can share my screen. Okay.
I hit
And
share
I-
screen for a reason.
All right, so let's try this again. Anyway, Jake and Ben were on here, but I wanted to share this because Jake has been wanting to get into podcasting for a while, and he is actually starting his new show tonight. His very first live episode is tonight, and really, it's not going to let me share it. Oh, come on.
If he figures out how to make money from this faster than we do, I'm going to be really upset.
It's tough.
I don't know. He's got that TikTok audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to restart Chrome to make this happen. But anyway, 9:00 tonight, at right here on YouTube. It's called Champions of the Force. He's going to have Master Allen from Level Up Lightsaber and Akula, who's another Saber content creator. They're both going to be on there and they're going to have a talk. I don't know what their topic is. I just know that I'm very excited for it. So watch us tonight, take a 1 hour breather, stretch your legs, and come back at 9 p.m. Eastern for Champions of the Force podcast with Jake the Jedi. Again, he's going to have Alan from Level Up Lightsabers and Akula, a Star Wars content creator. So he does a lot of cool saber spins and tricks and flips and whatever else. But yeah, so that would be really cool. And I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. Jake's a good guy. No, I'd have to restart my whole Chrome settings and I'd have to leave the chat and come back and just, okay, Hello, computer. Anyway, there's a Star Trek reference for you. Anyway,
Look at you go. You're bouncing through your fandoms.
The multiverse man.
You can do it, Jim.
no, actually, I can't. Chrome won't let me. Jerks. Okay,
Oh,
so
well, I really believed in you. You know, though, you don't have to go through all those Chrome settings if you use a Windows computer.
but I'd have to buy a new computer in 2 years. But that's a whole nother topic. All right, so. All right, so tonight's topic, the reason why these guys are here, surprisingly not to talk about Star Wars, although
We have a purpose.
well, and sometimes, every once in a while, we even try to pretend like we do. But tonight we're going to talk about the Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman. So, yeah. So the new movie that's come out with
From the other that have been Batman. He is now the Batman.
the Batman. Well, I understand why they did it. It's the Michael Keaton movie, when that came out, that was just Batman, and then there was Batman Returns. So to give it a little bit of separation, I understand. And it's supposed to be, I think, technically in an alternate universe. So
But when you buy a physical copy of it, where do you put it in your alphabetical order then?
it still
Ooh.
goes. It still
B
goes
for
with B.
Batman. Yeah.
B for Batman.
In that point, I put it in chronological order according to who played when.
Well, yes, but you have to put it within its alphabetized spot first before you potentially chronologize.
Batman, comma the.
No, Kathleen, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I feel like that would go under T for me.
Right?
The Batman.
But then it's in the wrong spot because then it's not with my other Batman movies.
Unless you organize, with categorization, then all your Batman movies go in their special Batman corner in the dark.
Under B.
These
and
are my
then-
Adam West Batmans. These are my George Clooney. These are my Michael Keaton. These are my
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. And then
So the Clooney one, that's the cup holder, right? You set your glass on that. So
I'm trying to remember if I saw that one, but if so, I
Sounds
was
like Bat
quite
Nipples.
young. So
Bat
I believe
nipples.
it was
Bat
the
nipples,
one
that's all I
with
gotta say.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze.
Dr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze.
okay, yeah, I think I had the
Jake!
Batmobile toy for that.
Jake, we were talking about you.
Jake, we just talked about you and your cool
Tim said
show
your
coming
name
up in 2.
times like Beetlejuice, and there he is.
That's right. Jake the Jedi. Jake the Jedi. Jake the Jedi.
Poof.
Ta-da! Jake the Jedi. So
Did you sell your soul to Jake the Jedi?
no, I didn't, but he's a cool guy, and we've been talking a little bit, trying to get him up and running for his show. I'm excited about that. So he has a live show tonight, 9:00, and then the audio will be posted later. I'm not entirely sure when, but I guess if you listen to his show, he'll give you all the details about that. Baby things. I understand. So, hey, let's get into the topic. So we are talking about The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, with a cool list of people attached into that. And appreciate you too, Jake. You're a good dude. Let's see. Everyone knows that Kevin Conroy is the best Batman of all time. Well, it's kind of hard to argue with.
Which one was that?
The voice of Batman in the Batman animated
Oh,
series
okay,
and video
yes.
games, and Batman Arkham Knight, and he's got the cool Batman voice that
I'm
nobody
not
else has been able to do.
I'm not sure where to put
That was pretty
Batman.
That was
Beyond
amazing.
in
Oh
my
wow, that was just
category.
he would probably be first for me
Batman
then-
Beyond.
before Batman Beyond. I love Batman Beyond, don't get me wrong. Batman Beyond is amazing animation. I love grumpy old Bruce Wayne because I think that's where I'm headed. Just not the same amount of money.
But do you?
Uh,
But then do you put the Mermaid Barnacle Boy SpongeBob special with Batman?
You put it with the 60s version, yes. Yes,
Important question.
Right
the
before
60s
it.
campy. But so let's talk about the Batman, the actual movie, not the Barnacle Boy series.
Getting
Yeah,
there.
Tim, you were bringing up how many people are in there, and I was actually surprised how few people are
It
in
was
the
a
movie.
tight cast. We sat through the whole
Yeah.
credits because we were hoping for a special Marvel style, bonus scene, which we
There-
didn't.
there
wasn't
there
one.
wasn't
I-
one.
I did too.
But we did read
There
the
wasn't?
entire cast list, and it was tiny.
Yeah, like the only
I thought there
named
was.
people, there was about a dozen on there. And
Yeah,
that
it's a-
seems
it's-
about right.
It's a very small cast, ton of extras.
Yeah, kind of fits with the camera angles in this new Batman movie were so
Yeah.
tight. It was almost about what you couldn't see versus what you could actually see on screen. The whole 3 hour,
Yeah.
shenanigans of it.
It really
Yeah,
filled the space.
they did. And one of the things I liked, you mentioned the camera angles and things, and it was, I do agree, it was more about what you couldn't see. And I think that added to the feel of the detective side of Batman, what he was trying to find, what he was looking for, all those different things. I think that, yeah, I think that added a lot to it. So
For those of us and those listening who haven't seen it yet, it should be up on HBO Max on April 19th.
there you go.
For those
Yeah,
of
I'm
us
looking
who
for.
can't do a 3-hour movie anymore.
There seriously should have been an intermission. I was like, and pause, and we all get to go to the bathroom and come back.
Right?
Yeah,
I
it
think the
was
movie could have
well.
easily been about a half hour shorter. There's some things in there that were just in there for filler. Like I do regret that they cut out the 5 minutes with Barry. I'm gonna slaughter his last name. There's a deleted scene that Matt Reeves, the director, has released. It's a 5-minute scene with Batman talking to the Joker at Arkham Asylum, played by Barry Keoghan. And I love that scene, but I also understand why it was taken out at the same time, because I think that they were afraid that too many people are going to get lost with the Joker.
Yeah, I think the Joker overshadows the Riddler. As good of a villain as the Riddler was, the Joker is by far the scarier threat. So
Yeah.
kind of nice that the Riddler finally got a time to shine.
I love the fact that, not only did he get time to shine, but so on Pop Culture Addicts, I released on last Friday our 5 at 5. I talked about my top 5 reasons or things that I liked about the Batman movie. And number 1 for me, spoiler for those who haven't watched it yet, and if you haven't, go to Pop Culture Addicts. But number 1 is the fact that Paul Dano, who plays the Riddler, is the best version of the Riddler I've ever seen. And this is the most believable, scary Batman villain I've ever seen, where the depths of the mental illness and the things that the Riddler's going through, you really buy into. You really buy into that, this man is literally outside of his own mind and everything that's going on. And this is I love Jim Carrey's version of the Riddler. Don't get me wrong. It's funny. It's like Jim Carrey at his prime, in my opinion. But it was over the top. It was campy. It was more like the 60s version of the Riddler. I wanted to see somebody, a little grittier, a little darker. And that's definitely what we got from Paul Dano's version of the Riddler.
Yeah, for sure. I was telling Anna that my canonical Batman experience is really the Christian Bale Batman.
The Dark Knight series,
because I was a little bit too young for the other ones, and they're a little bit silly. But then those ones came out when I was in late high school, early college, and they were good movies when they came out. Heath Ledger's Joker was extremely believable because of the desperation of the character.
Oh, and the unpredictability.
Yeah, and Paul Dano's Riddler is very similar in that, although Heath Ledger's Joker, you have no idea why they're doing what they're doing. The Riddler, you know why they're doing what they're doing, but they're still just a person.
Here's what I appreciated, though. This was a really political Batman movie.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of a bold choice to show how people get radicalized online by fringe thinkers. That was the scariest part for me, was that the Riddler got a bunch of guys in army surplus gear to show up and try to assassinate the mayor-elect. And I just realized it's a huge spoiler, and I'm super sorry about it.
It's okay. It's been out long enough at this point. I think we have to,
2 weeks.
acknowledge it and expect
I'm really
that
bad
going
with
to be
spoilers.
It's
That's
been
okay.
Mark. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, not to mention that that is the number one problem. Domestic terrorism by white nationalists is a huge danger in this country and others.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a bold take. I was not expecting that from my superhero adjacent, afternoon matinee show.
Yeah, it's kind of a deep movie, and it does make you think a little bit. And I think that there's a whole lot of I even liked the way that they handled the Bruce Wayne side of things, with him being he was very unsure of himself. He was
He
very
was a
unsure.
fallible Batman. I'm
Really
not sure
Yeah.
that
was.
we've seen that before.
No, and he was, I mean, there's always been the, oh, hey, my parents died, and you've never had to deal with that type of guy. But one of the scenes that really sticks with me, and I've thought about this a lot since having gone and seen the movie, when they're at the funeral and he
Mhm.
sits there and he's staring at that little boy.
Yeah.
You can, I
Mm.
think Robert Pattinson did a really good job of conveying the emotion that somebody who maybe has gone through that is feeling, and seeing, knowing exactly everything that little boy over there that's sitting down in the church pew is going through, and everything he's feeling, and
Yeah.
and maybe reliving, the night that his parents died, kind of reliving it in his head a little bit,
Yeah, this Batman kind of stripped away all the things that make Bruce Wayne powerful. Like, he was reclusive. His fortune, it was kind of implied, is teetering. The accountants were coming over for breakfast to
Mhm.
figure out what's
Right.
going on with a Wayne fortune. And he was really unsure of himself. And what I remember from, most of my Batman viewings have been the Dark Knight series. And Christian Bale played it so straight. He was so sure
Mhm.
of himself. He was charismatic. He was glib. And I think that was exactly who Batman needed to be at that time when they were producing those movies. But this was so different.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
look forward to that. Like, I like the Christian Bale ones a lot. Like, those
Mhm.
are probably my favorite Batman movies. But I look forward to the different take on Batman. And yes, Robert Pattinson is a really good actor. Yes, the Twilight movies were horrendous.
I was very, very, very happy with his rendition of Batman.
Me too.
Like, you've had so many people before you who have done Batman, and you almost have a lot to live up to in a way, because
Right.
it's
hmm
It's
so
such,
iconic.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's such an
And-
iconic role. It's been done so many times.
And as we talked about, there's some really big names in there. George Clooney, Christian Bale. Those are high-powered actors. But
Right.
Robert Pattinson's subtlety in the role was amazing.
hmm And I want to bring this comment back up. Jake made this just a second ago. I'm happy they focus more on the detective stuff. I love that. I love,
Mhm.
because he's supposed to be, in the comics, he's the greatest detective in the world, all these different things. And up until this movie, we've really never seen him flex his detective muscles, so to speak. He has in some small ways. It's been kind of campy. Or, I think about Christian Bale, and how he, figured out what type of bullet it was, with the shooting, um,
Yeah.
whatever parking garage he was in at that moment. But there's a lot of different things that could have been done for to expand on that in other Batman movies. But I really thought they did it well. I love the contact lens thing. I love the
Mm.
everything about that. I love seeing him go back and write down in a journal everything that happened and why it was going on, and you know
Sam pointed out that we get the first hint when he oversees the criminal investigation right away at the beginning of the movie, and he looks at the mayor's severed thumb and he says, "Oh, this guy was still alive when they took his thumb off."
Mhm.
And
Right.
Sam was saying, "Oh, that's when I clued in that they were really going to be leaning into the investigation side."
And they did it all without by filling up that 3.5 hours, right? Because the very next little bit, he looks down, and then the crime scene investigator looks at what he was looking at, and it's a blood splatter, and she takes a bunch of pictures.
Every
Right.
movement in that scene is so intentional. He's not blinking so that he can get it all on camera. And he's moving so slowly through the space. And I just was so wrapped up in what was going on in that scene. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot there to appreciate with the way that they did this. But I want to talk a little bit more about casting too. So we mentioned about how it was such a tight cast. Now, a lot of people were very happy, very ecstatic about Zoe Kravitz and her portrayal of Catwoman. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
She
I'm
was
still very excited to see it.
I think she was incredibly sexy in this, like,
Yeah, and vulnerable too.
yeah, she would glam up, get close to Pattinson, and vamp up as if she was, basically really well playing that role of a hot girl with daddy issues, which, makes sense.
It's canonical.
But she played it extremely well in a way that
yeah.
like evokes her own vulnerability and weaponizes it.
Mm.
And I was like, this character is fantastic. She's playing her very well. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of coolness about her.
You know, the comics are so full of femme fatales. I think of Venom. Was it Venom who was the vampy kind of green vine flavored villainess?
Oh, I think that's Poison Ivy. Yeah.
Poison Ivy. Yeah. So I think this Catwoman was so in that style. It was,
Mhm.
chef's kiss.
Yeah. I liked her so much, in fact, that I would love to see her with her own feature film as
Mhm.
this role. And I mentioned this too, and again, in Pop Culture Addicts 5 at 5. This is one of the things I mentioned. I would love to see a movie take off from that point where Batman goes one way, she goes the other way. You know, what happens from that point forward? I think that there's so much story to tell from there, whether she comes back to Gotham or she stays in Gotham, whatever, you know, or if she leaves or whatever's going to happen from that point forward. I think that there's a lot of story there to tell where we can, you know, see her build off and get something other than just a knit cap for a hat. So
Yeah.
that was my only complaint when, like, you built her this great outfit. She looked great and she looked so much like Catwoman, and you gave her a knit cap with a cutout in it. Okay. So
That was fun.
Well,
yeah, I mean, oh no, go ahead, Nick.
I was thinking, I feel like it wasn't like a beginnings type thing, but it wasn't quite like fully fleshed out either. Like she was still, it was like just after a beginning, but like fleshing out her role as to who she is.
Like, we're not quite getting another origin story because we don't need another origin story. We know the origin.
Yeah, I feel actually that way about Pattinson's Batman as well. That he's got a year or two of being the Batman under his belt, but he's not Mega Batman yet. And the rawness of his bat tools, his, batarang in the chest that's basically just a utility knife. And
I was like, oh,
armor.
that was nice.
that got a ton of laughs in the theater where we were just
I liked
putting
when
it
he
back
pulled
in.
out the adrenaline shot and
Oh,
just, gave himself a little up and at him.
But the car, the Batmobile and the Bat Cycle.
That completely normal looking black motorcycle. I loved those scenes when he and Zoe Kravitz were chasing each other through the city on their totally nondescript motorcycles. I think that's so perfect. Because, if you're in the middle of Gotham City, someone's going to boost your cool Batmobile. You know it. But like a random motorcycle, I don't know.
And you can't run around in the motorcycle from Dark Knight. Like that thing
was amazing.
You can't park that anywhere.
No, you cannot. No, that would be a little more difficult. That or the Michael Keaton style one, which had like the big wings coming off the back of it, which would clearly tell everybody, hey, that's Batman's ride.
If
So
you follow it, you will find out where he went.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
especially because so much of that scene between Catwoman and Batman riding on the motorcycles and filled up so much space in the movie. There's so many low speed, not motorcycle chases, but motorcycle stakeouts, following, stalking, that it does lend more to the detective element. There's also the stakeout. There's all the elements of a police procedural in
the movie opens with Pattinson's Batman spying, through the spyglass, the binoculars, and we see that a couple times throughout the movie. So I think you're totally right, Sam. I think that is how they were intending to frame the entire experience.
It's really just CSI Gotham.
I was gonna say,
I would totally watch that.
that would be fun. That would be fun. I think it was Three Geeks saying that they wanted like an Office style mockumentary from inside Arkham Asylum. I'm like, I would watch that. That sounds hilarious.
Yeah, that could be really dark.
I thought it was going to be from Alfred's point of view, like all the BS that he puts up with.
Or from like Gotham City Police Department.
That would be fun too.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Gotham style.
Nine-Nine.
Gotham 99.
I also want to talk about the massive amount of awards that I think that the makeup and special effects people deserve for Colin Farrell.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't know that was Colin
No
Farrell.
idea.
We're sitting there watching the credits. We're like, who was Colin Farrell?
I thought he was like one of the gangsters in the background or something. No, he's the Penguin. No.
Yeah, you can't tell it by looking at him.
No.
Impressive amount of
Unbelievable.
prosthetic.
Yeah.
There's so much makeup and prosthetics on that man.
Mhm.
I want to know how long he spent in the chair for every time he was on set.
Yeah.
4 hours, probably.
That's it? No way.
He's
You're
guessing.
just stealing answers from Armin Shimmerman. No.
No,
Yeah.
Armin was 2 hours.
Okay.
So he's just taking that and doubling it.
So they did have the Penguin only in, I think, 3 sets, if I'm recalling correctly, which would be
It could
nice
have
for
just
that.
been a one day.
I'm sure it wasn't one day, but
That's all
Yeah,
they
there
could
was-
afford. It's Colin
Yeah,
Farrell.
there was more scenes there than what I think one day could have afforded. But yeah, you're right. There was a limited number of sets that he would have been on,
which
and that might have been also because of COVID that they were limiting the exposure from who was able to go where and with what scene and everything else to stay within guidelines. I'm sure.
also helps
but-
with the lighting for those prosthetics because they can look bad in good light. Although
It
with
was a
modern
dark
tech, yeah, who
movie.
can tell? It was an incredibly dark movie. That was the
Yeah.
point.
And everything that was light or lit up was still through like a gauzy kind of focus. It was so distinctive. Yeah.
So
really interesting.
when we got to speaking of how dark that movie is, when we got to the theater, we got there, we missed the opening. Like we were like 2 minutes late to the movie, and I walked in, and it was a packed theater. We had 3 tickets. We went in to try to find 3 seats. We could not find 3 seats together. We'd have to wait for the screen to flash a bright light so that we could see where the
No.
seats were. It was that dark in the theater.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
insane.
Yeah. It took forever to find our seats, but he's been having some internet issues. He was lagging a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, since we're talking about movie experiences, I have a fun anecdote that I have to share.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so when I went and saw The Dark Knight Rises, I went and saw it with some friends, and I was still in like high school. And I wanted to take my mom to go see it. And my mom's kind of high strung. So she was hungry before the movie. Yeah, I know. Genetic gifts. So I was like, okay, I'm from the South. So I was like, we're going to go through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru. We're going to grab Chick-fil-A really fast. We're going to put it in our
Chick-fil-A.
handbags. We're going to take it into the movie. We were like 5 minutes late to The Dark Knight, the first one that came out. And my mom was grumping. She's like, we should just skip it. It's not going to be worth it. And we sit down and she watches for 5 minutes. And she was like, oh, this is going to be really good. So that's my Dark Knight anecdote. I totally convinced my mom when she was not willing to be convinced.
And now I want waffle fries from Chick-fil-A.
I have
So
never
good.
eaten at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, it's heaven.
You should get the Polynesian sauce.
It's okay.
It's good.
Anyway, Tim,
Anyway.
I think you're going to finish your story.
I'm also going to laugh about the fact that my cat is just falling asleep in my arms, even though he's very cranky with the fact that I'm holding him.
Yeah,
That's
he looks very relaxed from this
He's
angle.
so angry because I actually he'll howl at the door, but then if I let him in, then he's mad because I don't
He's a
want him
cat.
just running loose in my bedroom because he knocks over plants.
He's a cat.
So he's being contained.
And so we touched on this just a few minutes ago, but I do want to bring it up. Kathleen talked about the number of roles that he's been in that have been very good. I think that there's a significant number of people who are avoiding this movie because it's Robert Pattinson and he was in Twilight. And I want them to know if they're one of the ones who are listening and all that kind of stuff. If you're listening, don't let that be the thing that stops you from going to see this amazing movie.
I
Go
think
watch Water
Robert,
for Elephants first if you think that
Yeah.
he's terrible.
Robert Pattinson did a pretty great job considering that he was getting a lot of pushback in the Twilight movies and he played it kind of, he wasn't able to play it the way he wanted to and he was getting a lot of criticism from the producers. So I don't know.
But
He did the best he could with the content he was given.
Yes.
But I mean, that's like not going to see Heath Ledger's Joker because you didn't like him in A Knight's Tale.
Oh my God, that's such a
Not
great
like
point.
him in A Knight's Tale.
If that would
First-
have happened,
First of all,
happened,
but
yeah, I wouldn't have gone to see him. I didn't like A Knight's Tale, but that's just me.
How?
I didn't like it.
What?
It should be hitting all of my I am the target audience and I don't like that movie.
That is insane. It is one
I
of
have
my-
a problem with how they tried to modernize certain things that were in that time period, and working in the classic rock. Although I love the soundtrack, don't get me wrong, the musical choices were awesome. It just didn't fit the time period of the
It was a
movie.
little
And
jarring, yeah.
The Star Wars, it was Star Wars costuming, but in the middle of medieval England, and I don't know about that.
so
See, I like it, but I think because it's very Renfest feeling to me.
That is it, yeah.
I love Renfests.
well, see, there you go.
That is perfect to me. But
So if you imagine it's a mockumentary about a Ren Fair.
Oh, okay.
That might actually work better if made by Spinal Tap. That might
besides
work.
the fact, Paul Bettany and Alan Tudyk and
No, it's got a great cast. I just
Tim just wants to be able to give that long suffering look into the camera and just have everybody commiserate.
Are we just to the phone now?
Apparently, I don't know what's wrong with my computer.
Something
Am
going
I
around.
coming
Mhm.
What?
Okay. What I miss?
The fact that Ernie is both cranky and falling asleep in my arms.
we were talking about Pattinson and why people shouldn't be skipping this movie just because of Robert Pattinson.
Comparing it to when Heath Ledger became Joker.
Yeah, I think honestly this is we don't watch a lot of movies. I mean, it's been crazy the last few years since a big ask, and our whole personal screen time is kind of taken up with Star Wars. But you guys know how it is. But
I do.
This is the second movie I've seen since we saw Dune.
In the theaters, we've seen Dune and we've seen this Batman, and that's been pretty much it for the pandemic.
In the last 2 years, and this is really good. It was extremely enjoyable, and I enjoyed how much time and space it filled to tell the message.
Yeah. Also, I love movies where you walk away and whoever you went to see the movie with, or if you went by yourself, your brain is spinning and you're like, oh my God, I have so much to talk to you about. And I have to say all these things right now. And like, you're still in the car and you're going home and you're still talking. Like, I love that. And this is absolutely the movie that's going to do that for you in theaters right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When we left the theater, we get in the car. It was me and my son, Nolan. He's 19. And he's not really super big on superhero stuff. He likes superhero stuff, but it's take it or leave it, but he likes action movies. And so he was down for that aspect of it, and it got him out of the house, and it was a free ticket. So he went. And so we get back to the car, and I'm doing just what Anna was just describing. I'm like, we got to talk about this, and what about this, and what about that? And he's just like, yeah, Dad, it was cool. Thanks.
Oh.
And I'm like, my head's exploding. I need somebody to talk to this about. And he's like, yeah, it was cool.
That's why you have 3 podcasts.
Yeah. Well, that's why Anna and I started our podcast, was because we were watching the Clone Wars, and all we would do was talk about the Clone Wars.
It literally has freed up time in our relationship to talk about other things because we have to save it for the podcast. So now, instead of talking about Star Wars all 18 hours of the day that we're awake, we only talk about it like 1 hour a week.
We didn't talk about Batman until today.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Saved it all for us.
Discipline.
Scary.
We have discipline for that. Nothing else.
We run a tight ship over here.
You guys are far cooler than us, because I'd have been like, hey, guess what we're gonna talk about?
Buckle up, kiddo. We're going to talk about the Batman for the next 18 hours.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what's gonna happen.
That's amazing.
I look forward to seeing it though, because I do love Batman. My sister actually wanted to name me Batman when I was born. Thank goodness my parents did not let the 4-year-old name her little sister.
Is this a sister who likes you?
Yes.
Oh.
She was 4, so it was, if I was a boy, she wanted me to be named Grover, and if I was a girl, she wanted me to be Batman.
She's got impeccable taste.
I know.
Nolan wanted to name Kendall Monster Truck and was horribly offended when that did not happen.
Oh, well, I agree. I am on Team Nolan here.
I think Monster Truck's a really cool first name.
Nolan would still agree with you. So
does he just still call her Monster Truck? Because I would.
I think he just calls her Monster. I don't think there's anything else past
You
that. But
you could go by Truck in formal settings.
Whoa.
that's right.
Yes.
MT.
Like Madonna, Beyonce, Truck.
We call her KP, but she could go by MT. So
No, I look forward to seeing it because I do appreciate Robert Pattinson as an actor, and I look forward
Right.
to seeing what he brings to the table. Because like it's I haven't seen it. I'm going to watch it when it's on HBO and I can pause it and I can watch it after my kid goes to sleep, and then watch it in smaller chunks because there's no way I'm staying awake for 3 hours after she goes to bed. But I've been watching Water for Elephants because it's I want to watch Robert Pattinson in a role that's actually good. Like. I have a soft spot for the Twilight movies. I was a teenage girl when those movies came out. Like they were directed at me. And
Right.
so there's that part of me that's still Team Edward, Team Jacob. No, but then watching him in Water for Elephants and I'm like, no, this is a real role. This has emotion to it. This has depth. You're not a one-dimensional 117-year-old vampire. Like you have feelings. I look forward to seeing him in another role where he gets to be a little more rounded out, I guess.
You know what I
Right.
loved about that, Kathleen, is that half of the movie, all you can see of Robert Pattinson's face is his mouth. But he had a very expressive mouth,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
because his eyes were supposed to be so glassy through the mask and he had these contacts in. So really what he had was body language and mouth, like the lower half of the face. And he did great.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about that too. He doesn't have that much body language because his bat hood makes him completely unable to do anything like rotate his head at all. And something else that I noticed right away, because of course there's gratuitous Robert Pattinson shirtless shots. So, but you notice that the Batman suit is ripped.
Oh,
and
it
Robert
adds
Pattinson
so
is
much.
like, fit, but he's not like, "Urgh." So for me, that helped a lot with the suspension of disbelief because it made you realize that like, okay, someone who's wearing like this much, like 3 inches of armor all over their body actually might be bulletproof.
Mhm.
As
Right.
opposed to like, was it George Clooney who had little bat nipples?
Mhm.
You know?
Turkey's
I
done.
do appreciate how they like you literally saw bullets bouncing off of him
Yeah.
Oh,
in
yeah.
certain scenes. Like
Yeah.
he just took a bullet.
Yeah. Agreed.
There's one other scene that I want to shout out, and I think that this is a really subtle one, and I might be the only person to have noticed it. One of my very favorite movies of all time is Christian Bale's Equilibrium,
Okay.
where he plays a gun monk who goes around defeating people who have emotions.
What?
And there is, they have this weapon style called gun kata, where you have like 2 Glock 19s and you do all sorts of crazy ninja moves every which way to shoot everyone in the room, like statistically.
Huh.
If you watch carefully, you'll see in some of the scenes in the Batman that Robert Pattinson's Batman kind of does that. He like will know where the bullets are coming when he walks into a room full of bad guys as he's punching them all. And I think that's a very cool shout out to Christian Bale's Batman.
Robert Pattinson does the homework.
There you go.
Someone does.
Someone
does.
did. So as much as I like Pattinson, I did have one thing that I thought he could do better. So
Okay.
I thought he was spot on as Batman. I thought his Bruce Wayne needed a little work.
Mm.
And the only reason why I say that, and now, again, I did preface this earlier saying that his Bruce Wayne was somebody who wasn't understanding who he was, where he was, what was going on. But I do think that it was a little mopey and a little, dare I say, emo, because I'm going to upset the Twilight kids who are going to like, oh God, he's
Hey.
evil.
I mean, he is wearing like straight up black.
That
Yeah.
hair,
You know,
well, yeah,
and
the
the hair.
black face paint, the hair I thought was kind of unfortunate. What reminded me of that the most, or where I noticed it the most, is when Real, the mayor-elect, comes up and is talking to him like a human being, and he's being a cardboard cutout back to her. So it's like this living, breathing, normal person, and then you're getting stonewalled by Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna actually counteract that here, Tim.
Oh.
Have you ever read Rant by Chuck Palahniuk?
Nope.
Okay, so it is about the nighttimers and the daytimers. And in a, some random Chuck Palahniuk future, there's the people who are daytimers who have normal 9-to-5 jobs and 2.5 kids and white picket fences. And then there's the nighttimers who work all the jobs that the other people don't want to work. And the basic difference is that those people stay up all night and sleep during the day because for some reason there's not enough space for everyone to sleep. And what happens is if you stay up all night, you turn into a crazy person.
He says that. He says, I've 2 years of nights has turned me into a nocturnal creature.
Exactly. And that is what's happened. He is a crazy person now.
Can't believe I just whipped that line out of my back pocket. That was the most impressive thing I've done all day. Enjoy this, folks. I am not good at the direct quotes.
I love it. That was good, though.
You sure you didn't take your notebook to the movie theater, Anna?
Oh my God, I almost did.
Well, as we mentioned, it was very dark.
It was so dark.
You can see there, you got she's wearing a baseball cap with a clip light on the front going, could you pause that, please? I didn't get all of that.
I would totally do that.
I actually have a pen that's got a flashlight in it that I wonder if that would be just bright enough to be able to read my notes.
Maybe Tim can find a seat with it too.
I almost used my phone, my flashlight on my phone, but I was pretty sure that was going to upset somebody, so I didn't.
A little boomerific.
Yeah.
So both to Tim and Sam's point on the Bruce Wayne aspect, his Bruce Wayne did throw me off a little bit. And I was like, what? But then, when you think about it from Sam's point of view, or what he was mentioning is how, he's been up all night. He's tired. And I know a lot of women who, after long days of work, they won't even clean off the makeup off their face. And he is probably just like, I'm just going to be at it again.
Yeah, I love that Alfred knew him well enough to schedule the accountants over breakfast because he's like, I'm going to catch you like after the shower before you go to bed for 12 hours.
Right,
that
before you crash.
So brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think too, I'm wondering if the title itself, The Batman, is because he is fully engulfed into that role as a trauma response from not wanting to be Bruce Wayne and not wanting to deal with what Bruce Wayne has to deal with. That he has become so absorbed into that personality of being the Batman that Bruce is the character now.
Yeah, there's so much pressure
possible.
on him, right? Yeah. Like as soon as he shows his face in public at the memorial service, everyone is like, Bruce Wayne, you could be doing so much more for the city. Mm-hmm. And in his head, he's like, I am literally doing the best I can.
Right. And he's an adult who lost both of his parents in a traumatic event as a child, who then is sort of left to his own devices. I mean, he's got his butler, but he never really went back to having a loving, normal, stable home.
I mean, that's the core thesis of the movie, honestly. That being an orphan, being separated from a love, a family, having any structure in your life, your response to that is what defines you, really. Mm-hmm. It's all actually, and that's something we actually did talk about before we got in the car and we're like, save it for the podcast, was that Batman is in a reactive context, much of the movie. He's a step behind instead of a step ahead. Oh, yeah. And that reactive context does speak to someone who is strung out or hasn't developed enough confidence in themselves, enough like self-actualization to be driving the situation themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the difference between some of the other Batman renditions that we've seen in this one. Mm-hmm. He is one step behind almost the whole movie.
Yeah, true. He is chasing Riddler the entire movie. Yeah.
Which I think actually does help with villains such as the Riddler and even the Joker, but like less so with some of the other ones from the Rogues Gallery. But with those ones, their strength is that they are so far ahead and so crazy and have all these wheels within wheels within wheels of their plans. So it does actually make Paul Dano's Riddler a more compelling villain to have him be a step behind.
I agree. All right. We're getting close on our time here. So we'll go through this real quick. Out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
4.
I'll do 5. I liked it a lot. Ooh. Yeah, it was. Ooh. I would definitely watch it again and go out of my way to do so.
Nice.
Okay. Nick?
I would have to go with Anna and say 4 as well. I went into it not knowing it was 3 hours long. And
no.
So I was like,
Nick bought the big drink.
Did you at least pee first?
I did. And And I was like, so how long is this movie? Like, where are we at here?
It just kept going.
Yeah. And I was like, it's not that I didn't like that, but I wasn't prepared for that.
Sure. All right.
Tim, what would you give it?
I would give it 4.5.
Yeah.
Just because I would like to see some improvement on the Bruce Wayne side. I understand Sam's points, and that actually does make a lot of sense. And I might think about that more later after we get done here tonight. But going into this discussion tonight, that was the rating I was going to give it. So I'm going to stick with that until I have time to process these new thoughts that have been put into my brain. So
if I could do 4.3, I would do 4.3 for the record. But I didn't know how specific we were going.
There you go. We have a clarification.
Excitement-wise, I'm giving it a 5. I am excited to watch it. After hearing about it, hearing other people's views on it, I am anticipating a 4.5 on my actual being satisfied with the movie.
I went into it with very low expectations. I was not a Robert Pattinson fan. I didn't watch other movies with him in it simply because of Twilight, but I wanted to see this movie because there was so much other things going on with it. I thought, well, even if he sucks, the movie should still be good. And I'm proud to say that the movie doesn't suck. And then don't skip it because you have Pattinson. Just give the man a chance. It's an amazing movie.
If you're so concerned that it's going to suck because it's Robert Pattinson, watch Water for Elephants. Watch, what is it, The Lighthouse? So the other one's in?
Or just
maybe. Or just if you're that nervous about it, don't pay the movie ticket rate and wait for it to come to HBO Max and pay $15 for a month sub.
Yeah,
you might save a couple bucks and you'll still
or
get to watch it.
If you don't mind watching commercials.
Oh, I mind watching commercials. That's going to be an issue. So, all right. So before we go into our concluding stuff here, guys, why don't you give everybody a reminder of where they can find Growing Up Skywalker, please?
Absolutely. Growing Up Skywalker is on all of the major podcasting platforms. So that includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. We're on Good Pods as well. And that's a really fun place to listen. You can find us on growingupskywalker.com. And we release episodes every Tuesday.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So last Friday, our guest was Amber Martinez, which you have seen on shows such as The Good Place, The Goldbergs, Homeland, or maybe as a hula hoop wielding shield agent in WandaVision on Disney+. We talk with Amber about her background and why she got into acting, about her music, and about some of her roles. You can still find that episode of Funny Science Fiction on your YouTube channel and your favorite audio podcast providers.
And remember your subscription to our YouTube channel is a major, major help. So please don't forget to click like and subscribe as you watch our videos. This week on Friday, our guest is an actor and voice actor that you've seen in places like Mr. Deeds, Encino Man, The Mummy, Planet of the Apes, and Stargate.
That's right. Episode 75 is with the ever incredible Eric Avari. We have an opportunity to talk with him about his movie roles, some of the ones that you just saw in the teaser trailer. We talk about his voice work on the video game Destiny 2, which I'm a big fan of. And he even shares some really cool behind the scenes stories about things that happened on the set for the movie Stargate. And he tells us why he hates the movie Encino Man. And you'll be able to find all that this Friday. If you want to watch it, it'll be on our YouTube channel, or of course you can find it on your favorite audio podcast provider.
And how he could have died in The Mummy.
Yes, he tells a fabulous story about Brendan Fraser saving his life.
This is true.
Aw.
So
that's sweet.
So,
it's a really fun story. It's a really funny story.
It's actually really good. So but yeah, there's
my career.
So yeah, so there's a cool, it's a really cool episode, lots of cool stories about behind the scenes stuff. And yeah, so, and if you're interested and you're curious of who he plays on Destiny 2, if you play that game, he voices Master Rahul. So anyway, that's it. That's the show for tonight, guys. Thanks for Growing Up Skywalker, or thanks to Growing Up Skywalker. Let's try to use our English words here. Thank you guys for coming.
Good.
We gonna speak real good tonight.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
it's
y'all.
Always a pleasure.
Thank
Always
you guys.
a pleasure.
All right.
All right. If I can find the proper exit video, we're gonna leave this thing.
Save us.
Ditch this popsicle stand.
Here we go. We're kicking this pig. See ya. On behalf of the rest of the hosts of Funny Science Fiction, we'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, please contact us by means of our Facebook group, Funny Science Fiction. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FunnySci-Fi, or you can go to DraytonAllen.com and click the Contact Me link at the bottom of the page. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.